An old dog retires. A new dog makes his mark. A 70-point turnaround. And the NRL at war with the RLPA. All that and more on today's episode of the Kennel NRL podcast. But before we go on, we have something that I find very, very exciting and I'm very happy to be sharing with you is today we're debuting a brand new logo for all our social media. Now, you know, this may seem like it's something small, and it really is, but thanks to your support, thanks to all the followers, the engagements, the subscriptions and the likes, we've been able to, start to upgrade our podcast, and we continue to see these upgrades happening more and more. So in that vein, I would like you to press like, subscribe to the channel and watch all our videos, share them if you like them, as it's going to continue to help us grow, build and provide more and more content. Thank you so much for all your support. Today we've got a very exciting show and I'd love to welcome back my lovely co-host, Dibbo. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. What about yourself?
Oh, mate, it's a very different demeanour today than it was last week.
You haven't stopped buzzing, eh?
Man, my team did a 70-point turnaround.
That excited that he couldn't wait to also reveal the logo. So you'll see that at the start of the broadcast. So I hope you guys noticed the difference between that and the old logo.
Yeah, the little things excite me, to be honest. I think it just shows, there's a little bit of growth happening on the podcast, and our last week's episode was a very, very successful episode, and we hope we can continue to build on that and continue to provide more and more content, because we love talking footy, we love watching footy, and we love engaging with all the fans and engaging with all you guys. So if there are any comments, leave your thoughts and comments down below. If you like the new logo, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know, and we'll be sure to respond. Now, some big news coming out of Belmore today. A club, a club favorite retires. Josh Reynolds has officially announced his retirement from rugby league. Got to say, while I don't think he's provided too much this season, seeing him retire and seeing him so emotional in the press conference, I was a bit sad to see him go. Although I think, I'm happy that he's going off on his own terms. His final game is going to be at Belmore this week against the Broncos. And I want to say, hats off to Reynolds.
Is he playing first grade?
No, he won't be playing first grade.
So I know he's playing New South Wales Cup this week at Belmore.
Yes, New South Wales Cup, not first grade.
You guys will probably get a decent attendance there.
Yeah, I mean, and look,
maybe a couple of thousand at the least.
Where?
At Belmore.
Oh, for the New South Wales Cup game? Yeah.
Probably just same the last time. So
yeah, and look, hats off to Josh Reynolds. He clearly loves the club. He was very happy to come back to the Bulldogs and play whatever role was given to him. And when he realized his body wasn't up to it anymore, he said, in the press conference, he said his body just wasn't able to keep up with what he wanted to do, and he said it was time. And look, again, hats off to him. When the Bulldogs wanted to bring Toby Sexton across, he was more than happy to put up his hand and give up his spot in the top 30 for the Bulldogs. And for me, I think fair go to him. I hope he stays around the club, nurturing the youngsters, building the passion for the Bulldogs in the youngsters. But yeah, I think he's going out at the right time and on his own terms. And hats off to him. And I really hats off to you. I really hope we see him around in some capacity at the Bulldogs, which I'm sure he will be.
I just think they're coming first in the reserves. So I thought it would have been nice to see him see out the season, help him get that premiership in the reserves, just to, probably cap off something good for the fans, because I know the first grade struggles they've had. Yep. But you've just revealed to me his body's not up to it, unfortunately, in his case. So
yeah, so
the reserve grade looks like it's stacked.
It is a quite stacked reserve grade. If you remember, or if you think about how many players have actually debuted this year in first grade and all that experience they're gaining, taking it back to New South Wales Cup, that does them a lot of confidence and good. Even if they've lost, playing in the big league, it makes a big difference going back to New South Wales Cup. And I think, look, it puts us in good stead for the next few years, definitely. And this is what Phil Gould, raves on about, week after week, post after post on Twitter. So, it's good, right? We're not doing too badly in the juniors. But yeah, he's, people were saying, this was a little bit of a glory hog move by Josh Reynolds, wanting to go out of Belmore again, wanting to, take a bit of the limelight from Belmore.
I think he's entitled to it. How many games has he played for Canterbury? 200? roughly.
He's played a lot. He's
played in a few premiership deciders, so I thought he's obliged to go out at Belmore when titled. I mean,
it's not strange.
It's a sending off he deserves. So I thought he's entitled to have that send off at Belmore.
Look, it's not strange and it's not unprecedented, and I think why wouldn't you let the guy go out like that?
I don't understand where it's a glory hog. He's only playing reserve grade. So like he's came and said, "Oh, I demand to have a first grade spot." So just don't worry about those people. Just put them in the corner.
No, look, I mean, it's a different opinion, and I understand where they're coming from, but I honestly don't think it's
I just think they're bored and trying to be relevant. So don't worry about them. Put them in the corner.
But yeah, so sad moment, but at the same time, I think it's a good moment. It will be a happy moment.
Did you shed a tear?
No, look, to be honest, I thought he was, when he did play first grade, one good game. He had maybe one good game, and then the rest he looked like he was out of it.
He's had a decorated career. He played in 2 premiership deciders for Canterbury. Some great sides they had there under Des. He's also, I think, his highlight of his career, I think, in my opinion, is ending the 8-year consecutive streak of the Queenslanders.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a focal point of there. That's where he was at the peak of his powers. So he's had those glory years.
And no one will ever be able to take that away from him.
Of course. He's part of that 1% of first graders that got to play Origin. So
and win a series and break the New South Wales drought. So
forever remembered about it.
Remembered about it. So yeah, well done on a wonderful career, Josh. And wish you all the best in retirement. Now, on a more lighter note, the Bulldogs staged a miracle 70-point turnaround.
I can't believe it.
Souths.
Yeah, I can't believe it took this long for you to talk about it. Jeez.
Man, because there's a lot to talk about, and I just wanted to get the Reynolds retirement out of the way so we can dig into this.
Look, I know Canterbury got towed up the week before by 66 points. I actually had them winning by 16. Souths was missing a host of players, but I mean, if St George could knock over a depleted Souths, I'm sure Canterbury could do it as well. They were doing it with ease up till the last 5 minutes with some coaching debacles, I felt. Yeah, but you know what? Great performance. Great to see some players shine on the night. TPJ terrorised them with his offloads and hard runs. Averillo always... man,
I swear I'm going to get into that Averillo.
I know you were having a private cry beforehand about getting him released. Is there any way they can backflip on that?
Look.
Yeah, Gerald, look, I'll tell you what, the boys have been screaming for about 4 or 5 months. I know Taj and Finch haven't stopped talking about Skelton for about 4 months straight. They got their wish, and I'll give them, to their credit, their boy actually shined the other night.
I had a bit of a mixed debut, but he wasn't expected to play.
I'll tell you what, he offered some good sparks, some good runs. He offered more.
He showed a lot more pace than I expected.
Oh yeah, he had some great runs as well.
The step, it was like, for a big man, he can put in a very nice step. That was very impressive from Skelton. But another club debutant that I need to talk about, and I think this is all the difference. This is the point of difference, I think, moving forward, was Toby Sexton.
Yep.
Now, I don't want to make the mistake of putting too much pressure on a number 7. But wow, what a difference Toby Sexton made to the whole team, but in particular, Matt Burton.
Oh, of course.
I mean, and this is what I think we as fans have been screaming out for since the beginning of the year, right? Or since Burton has come to the club, is he's not a game manager and he's not a 7. And we've been saying on this podcast since pretty much the first week he was put at 7 that's not his role, and it hampers him badly.
He's a centre.
He's not a centre. And look, to be honest, if you saw the way he was playing at 5'8", it was clear that he's not a centre, right? And I want to point something out, and I think it's very important that I want to point some of the things that Toby Sexton has brought just in the one game with only 2 sessions of training, what he was able to provide to the team that we haven't had all year, right? So we scored 4 or 5 tries off backline movements. I don't actually remember the last time
shifts.
When was the last time the Bulldogs scored of a clean, quick shift?
Takes on the line a lot as well, Sexton.
He runs and he digs into the line. He digs into that defender and he throws the pass out, giving Burton time and space to either run or to pick his pass.
So he added the extra spark you're hoping for.
Well, he just added that management and he gave Burton time and space to pick his moments. So in this game, Burton, I felt, was a little bit unshackled by the burden of having to control the game. Right, so he had the most running meters this game of any since he's become a Bulldog, which is 100. I think it was 193 meters or something like that.
Huge. Yep.
Yeah, it's big, and the least kick meters since he's joined the Bulldogs at 119. Right, some may say, "Oh, he's kicking less," but this is exactly what you want from Burton.
It generally takes him 2 kicks to reach that amount.
Only 2, yeah, that's right. So if you think about him being able to select when he kicks and him being able to select when he runs and when he passes, what that does is it gives Burton the space to utilize his either long cutout pass or his run. And we've been calling for Burton to run the ball often, right? And the other thing I think that kept the Rabbitohs defense on its feet was that Sexton was also running the ball. He wasn't afraid to dig into the line and then take it himself if he felt like there may be a half opportunity for him, right? And look, no disrespect to Flanagan or anyone else that's played the 7 or that's played alongside Burton this year, but the one thing that they haven't been able to do is, number one, dig into the line and make the line second guess what is coming next. That allows us to be creative in our 20-meter line. Because if you look at a lot of the tries we've scored over the last 6 to 8 weeks, most of them have been long-range tries, not getting to the 20 and then put on a play. For us to be able to do that, with only having Sexton there for 1 week, sure, he's not the savior, but I think he adds that extra bit of the recipe that allows us to be a more structured and attacking football side. What do you think?
No, that's good. I thought the forwards didn't get the credit they deserve. I thought the forwards created more space for your backs, notably from the first receiver to the second receiver. Sexton, he loves a quick shift. He also loves a quick dig out the line. Obviously, in that time as well, he enabled more time and space for Burton as well to do what he needs to do. I thought your whole team were balanced across. I thought your centers had a great game. The newbie had a good one. Key Ward.
Quay Ward.
Yeah, Blake Wilson was finishing great outside him.
Oh, Wilson's amazing.
Averillo, as per normal, always. Your bench had a good game as well. I just thought everyone contributed.
You know what's interesting? We actually ran for more meters, or roughly, I think it was either the same or more meters in the first half against the Rabbitohs than we did against the Knights in the whole game.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Which goes to show that
big improvement.
It's a massive turnaround from the week before.
Your forwards came to play.
The forwards came to prove a point. And to be honest, if you look at the fact that Sutton, was injured in the first 10, 15 minutes of the game and didn't come back to play, I thought for our forwards to have a dig, right, and to continue with the attitude shown, I think was great. And it's good signs for us moving forward, because there are reports coming out that Viliami Kikau might actually be back this week against the Broncos or the following week against the Panthers.
Oh, wow.
Which, if you think about what, if Sexton, Burton and Viliami Kikau can combine on that left edge, we could actually cause a lot of damage to some teams. Look, I'm not saying we're going to win or we're going to lose, but I think having him back could add so much to our team. Is
it worth having him back this year? What do you feel? He's not going to get the spoon. I think he's about a 4 point, and he's got a
buy in hand, yeah.
So it's like a 3-game buffer. You just won't get the spoon. You won't even get close to it. Is it worth getting him back, or do you just let him rehabilitate? Or do you think he's keen to get out there because he feels that he owes the fans and his teammates something for due to missing for most of the season?
Look, I think, if I'm honest with you, it's not about owing the fans anything. I think it's more his teammates need him, right? So sure, as long as he's 100%, right, I think coming back is necessary, not only to help build up his fitness to take into the off season for next year, but also to help build momentum. Right. So if you go in, against the Broncos, against the Panthers, against, whoever else we end up playing, and sure, you're not winning, but you're putting up a fight and you're building those combinations for next year. What you do is you take a lot of momentum and a lot of confidence into the off season, and you can probably pick out new combinations now that Sexton is there. Right. And the other thing is, Viliami Kikau is a competitor.
Yeah, of course.
If Viliami Kikau can play, Viliami Kikau wants to play.
I think just before he got injured, you guys were sitting in the 8.
Oh, just outside the 8.
Yeah, okay, but he did spend time in the 8, I believe,
briefly.
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah, so briefly, but
it's a big loss.
He was a massive loss for us, and not only what he provides in attack and defense, but his experience to be able to, for the other forwards to be able to lean on him with their questions, with just the motivation, the drive. It adds a lot.
When fit, is he going to be your captain?
That's a good question. I don't think that Serraldo is going to take the captaincy off Burton and Marnie. So look, to be honest, the one thing I realized about Burton as well was he was playing with a lot of confidence, having Sexton outside him. Now, what I mean by that is when he stripped the ball, he looked like he has a menacing smile on his face. Like I just did that when he was defending. He was defending with some real angst, right? When he was kicking, when he was running, you could see there was a purpose and an intent to everything that he was doing. Go back and watch some of those clips where he had a smile, a real smirk on his face. And to be honest, I think that's a dangerous Burton. That's a Burton that was willing to risk a pass. That was Burton that was willing to throw the cutout. That was a Burton that's willing to run. And look, we may not have come off against the Rabbitohs, but the more we can attack the line in their 20 and Burton can start taking those runs. He's a big body and he's very, very strong, right? The more he'll get better at it, right? He'll start catching teams out. And that could only be good for the Bulldogs, especially if the forwards come and go with him. If the Bulldogs go with Burton, it's a very, very good sight for Doggies fans. And that's why I'm excited, because sure, 66-0 was horrible and we didn't know where we were going to go. But when you see such fundamental changes in the team, because, okay, sure, it was a under-strength Rabbitoh side, absolutely. And if they had their full team, we would lose. I have no doubt about that. But I want to take things in context. Let's take things into context. Sexton had only trained twice with the team. We debuted 2 players in the one night.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Right. We had 3 or 4 players that probably have a handful of games under their belts. Right. Averillo, a fullback, he's played at centre all year. Right. Who else? We had Flanagan on the bench. We lost a forward in the first 10 minutes. So our team wasn't without its challenges, and our roster isn't as strong as the Rabbitohs roster. So for us to be able to get over the heartbreak of 66-0 and then come back and show the fight, show the courage, but also see fundamental changes in our game, I think for me is the most rewarding about the game against the Rabbitohs. Sure, that last 5 minutes was an absolute cardiac arrest. And I do think that we were winners. Probably we deserved more than a 4-point win.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But we let ourselves down the last 5-10 minutes. Now you were saying maybe there was some coaching issues.
Yeah.
Some bench rotation issues.
Yeah, I mean he took off Tavita Pangai in the last 5, and I mean you put me Marnie to play up the middle with Flanagan.
Yeah, look,
right in the middle against some of those big boppers. I mean Tallis Duncan ran past Marnie and
Flanagan.
He ran past Flanagan, but over Marnie. I don't think Marnie. It's like Marnie wasn't even there. I was thinking, geez, like. Yeah. I mean, you tell me Tavita Pangai couldn't have turned out another 4 minutes?
Look, he could have, but look, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna harp on the point too much.
Anyways, he's got home. It was a relief,
and it was a deserved win. It wasn't a lucky.
It was
win.
A relief because I was watching it with you. So I also made a offish comment about Skeldon. First hit up in his career, he's going to drop it.
Before he actually took the run, Dibbo was like, "Wouldn't it be funny if he comes on, knocks the ball on his first touch, and then the Rabbitohs score off it?" And
lo and behold,
that was exactly what happened.
I think I lasered him.
It was
big laser.
It was such a Nostradamus moment. Bloody Dragons supporters.
Jeez.
But I want to make a comment as well. around people saying, the Bulldogs were coming up a reserve grade Rabbitohs side. But to be honest, and what people don't realize is that the Rabbitohs actually had more experience in terms of total numbers of games played in their team than the Bulldogs did. So the Bulldogs had roughly about 930 games, whereas the Rabbitohs had 1,030 games played between them. So they were more experienced technically than the Bulldogs were.
You got how many games in the end of the season? Half a dozen?
What was that? Sorry, 8 games, I think.
8 games?
Yeah.
I imagine all those players in your side, they get another 8 games under their belt. Like, won't you feel a million times? Doesn't it feel like it's starting to come together? Absolutely. I know it's been you could say an unsuccessful season, but I don't know if it's right saying this, but it's the season they had to have to go forward.
But the season's not over either.
Yeah, of course. But they'll get another 8 games under their belt, all those players. Absolutely. And then they'll all have, a lot of them will have double digits to their careers. Yeah. Some will have 20, 30 games, and then bang, into next season. It's looking a lot better. It
is, but the one disappointing thing about next season is that Averillo is not going to be at the Bulldogs.
He's got Stephen Crichton.
We do, but I find that...
Who else have you guys got next year? Jaden Sullivan?
No, we'll get to that, but Bronson Cherry.
Oh, there you go. That's another one.
But I want to point something out, right? Averillo was not trialled at fullback at all this year.
Disappointing, I know.
Very disappointing, and he was allowed to sign with another team.
Disappointing once again.
Can you imagine if he was moved to fullback a couple of months ago and given the chance?
I'm surprised there wasn't more fan backlash about that. I would have been absolutely filthy. Anyways.
Look, the fans are still filthy, and seeing how he performed on Saturday at fullback, it makes you ask the question. He had 206 run meters, 21 runs, 76 kick return meters, 3 line break assists, 2 try assists. You
know what? He's been in your, can I say, in a largely underperforming side this year. He's been in your top 2 performers. Like, it's him and Preston.
And Kiraz.
Oh, but look, top 2, I'll put, Kiraz is your 3rd.
Yeah.
But the top 2 is him and Preston, like, hands down. In an underwhelming, underperforming side.
They've been shining lights.
Exactly. Like, give the guy, more seasoned professionals to play against. And you can see, he's doing an underperforming side. Imagine how even the players next to him. It'd be even more devastating.
I agree with you, and I think he could have been our long-term fullback. And if Cirolo didn't give him the opportunity,
even in the centres, imagine you put the players around him, they give him more space and time.
He showed us what he was able to do in the centres.
And in an underwhelming side, and he was still the shining light for you guys.
You mentioned Jacob Preston. He made 39 tackles. He only missed 1 tackle for a 95.12% tackle efficiency.
It's pretty impressive.
It's incredible, right? What's more incredible is that Curtis Morin, 15 tackles, 100% tackle efficiency.
Is he another Trevor Gilmeister? Can he tackle like him?
Honestly, I think he can get there.
The axe.
And all the forwards had a dig. Tavita Pangai Jr. ran for, I think it was
10,000 meters with 533 offloads. His offloads were killing him.
He ran for 100
But his offloads were crazy.
His offloads were incredible. You can't account for the amount of...
How many offloads did he have? 6, 7?
Let me have a look. I'll just have to look at this.
Better not be 3 because I feel like you're about 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere there.
Hang on a second. He had, I'll tell you now, he had 4 offloads.
I feel like a lot more, but those offloads killed him after.
They felt like a lot more because they were effective.
Yeah, because he'd do a 15, 20 metre charge offload and they got another 20, 30 metres and killed him. I think one of his offloads, Skelton, went straight through.
Yeah.
That was absolutely devastating.
And he gave his players around him time.
And then they went left, and then Burton almost killed it, but Ockenbaugh saved his ass.
Look, Ockenbaugh had a very good game off the bench.
He wsaved Burton's ass there, but went, I don't know why he didn't just pass it. He flicked it back in.
I think he may have just realised a bit later. But, Max King ran for 114 metres.
Good.
Faye Talamarina ran for 120.
One of his better performances.
Absolutely. Tavita Pangai Jr. ran for 122. Look, they're not mind-blowing numbers, but they're what we need.
It was an all-round performance.
It was an all-round performance. Preston ran for 85 or so metres. Jacob Ockenbaugh ran for 92 metres. Averillo, 206 metres.
Look, they got it's a positive way. It's a feel good. It's something they needed to win because they got the Broncos this week. They know it's going to be a lot tougher, but they know what they're capable of. I know a lot of people ain't going to tip them, but they're riding high. And how many Brisbane players in the Queensland side?
Well, there's
half a dozen, let's say.
Yeah.
And they're missing Payne Haas as well. So they'll have half a dozen players tied.
And they're missing Reece Walsh.
there you go. They'll be missing about 8 players. Oh no, sorry, they'll have about half a dozen players tied,
backing up,
plus the other 2 that are missing.
Yeah,
and the games at home. So
and to be honest, the Broncos haven't been in great form. I'm not saying we're going to win. I'm just saying the Broncos haven't been in great form.
Don't discount the Bulldogs. I know they've had besides last week's win, they've had an ordinary month.
Dogs by 6.
I mean, they may give their fans something to cheer about if they ground out a win. Don't be surprised.
I mean, how great was it also to see Wilson scoring a hat trick?
No, I just think certain players shouldn't be playing reserve grade.
Yeah, and Wilson is definitely one of those ones that
Skelton did not look out of place in first grade. So I'm sure we'll see more of him.
So on that, what I think should happen for the Broncos game. This is what I think the backline should be. Should be Avril at fullback.
Yep.
Wilson at 2, Kiraz at 3, Burns at 4, Adakar at 5. I think that should be our backline. Sexton at 7, Burton at 6, Marnie at does
Kiraz play center?
Kiraz started off as a center.
It looks like he's putting on size too.
He had some massive runs. He had 150 meters for 15 runs. It looks like he's put on
a bit of size.
He's bulking up, yeah. And he ran very hard against the Rabbitohs.
Can he defend in a
He's
sense?
a much better defender, yeah.
It might work. Worth giving it a try.
I mean, if you look at our backline that's been there all year, what we're seeing, I think Burns has played wonderfully every time he's played for us. He's played out of his skin.
I don't think he has a bad game.
Honestly, since he's played for us, I don't think he's had a bad game. And you want to put your experience there.
Who's going to be your forwards?
So you have TPJ, Max King, potentially Viliami Kikau. You've got...
That'd be nice.
So Ryan Sutton...
I'll let him rest this week.
The good news is no concussion. He's all right, is he? No concussion, good. No neck issues. He's just gone for an MRI to make sure there's no nerve damage. But overall, he's resting and he's in good condition.
But I think isn't there the 11 game?
It's not a concussion.
11 day.
There's no concussion.
What was it, a neck issue?
I think it may have been a neck issue, or they're still checking. They're not sure, but it wasn't a concussion, according to Phil Gould on Twitter. So, I mean, he could play again. He could play this week. But then you've got Franklin Pele, you've got Chris Patolo that could come up, even Sam Hughes, potentially Harrison Edwards. So we have options. So I'm not too concerned because we have options. And, as long as Raymond Faitalamara can continue to support the props, and if we can get a Viliami Kikau on the bench this week, I think that would absolutely...
It's a big plus, yeah.
That would be absolutely incredible. It'll be a massive addition to the team.
Are we going to the game? What day is it?
I'll be away. I'll be out of state on the weekend, so I won't be able to...
This guy's
believe me, I'm so upset. I really wanted to be at the game this weekend, but it's just the way schedules work with work and everything. It's just sometimes it happens out of your hand.
Disappointing.
But look, I also want to give a bit of a call out to the Rabbitohs youngsters. I thought they played incredibly well.
I've heard the whole week, I'm going to spoil it for you, but the whole week, all I've heard is Canterbury fans saying, Munro is Josh Adokar's cousin. That's all I've heard. We're going to sign him.
Look, I'm not going to...
What's his name? Tyson Munro or something?
Tyrone Munro.
Yeah,
Tyrone Munro.
Jeez, he's only 18 years old. Can you believe
it?
I thought he was like 26.
He's a freak. He reminds me a lot of Selwyn Cobbo from the...
Or Jarrell Yao-Yee.
And Jarrell Yao-Yee definitely reminds me of
Jarrell Yao-Yee. He was fast.
Man, the way his career ended was just...
So confident. He's like a young Greg Inglis. Except for Greg Inglis was more dynamic. But
Munro's
going to be a superstar. I can't believe Souths keep unearthing these kids.
It is incredible. I mean, even...
You have one guy on the other side that's about to break maybe next season, hopefully it breaks the try-scoring record. And then you got this kid coming on the other side, just like... And then, if this kid keeps his head straight, he'll probably break the... never know.
Yeah, I mean, look, Tallis Duncan... And a Cam Murray 2.0.
He ran like Gordon Tallis up the middle when he ran.
Just an incredible young player with Gordon a lot of potential, which is, very exciting for the Rabbitohs. And Blake Taff had a wonderful game. He killed that.
Too good to be on the bench.
Too good to be in reserves.
I don't know whether, Cody Walker's 33. How long has he got in him? 2 years. Does Blake hang around and hopefully take the 5/8 position?
He could.
Or does he, look to seek opportunities elsewhere? Because he'll get a lot of money thrown at him.
Look, he could walk into a lot of teams
and earn about 400 to 500 easy.
Honestly, there are a few teams I reckon he could walk straight into.
Hopefully St. George.
Yeah. But yeah, look, I have to give, I have to say it was a wonderful performance by young Rabbitohs team. I was glad that they pushed the Bulldogs to see what kind of resilience we had. And unfortunately, in the last 5 minutes, we showed that, we're still not an 80-minute team. I think that's where I'm still struggling with the team. I think that we're not yet an 80-minute team. And then as well, I think some of Serraldo's decisions, like having Carl Flanagan on the bench and bringing him on at the same time as Reid Marnie,
I think he brought Marnie back on when Flanagan was on. That was the problem.
Either way, I think you need an extra we need an extra forward on the bench, knowing the deficiencies we have in our forward pack.
Like it's either, you're right, it's either swap him or Flanagan's there as surety in case basically if one of your halves go down.
But we can't. I mean, you can't cover for that.
Exactly, but but he was there obviously to give Marnie a rest. But
was it there to give Marnie a rest? Was he there just in case something happened to Sexton or Burton? Like for me, like
it's a little bonus, but I mean does Marnie tune you 80 minutes?
I don't honestly. Like that's a good question. He's generally played 80 minutes for the Eels, but.
Do you see now how the utilities come into the game? Yeah. They want him to be able to cover hooker, maybe halves or somewhere in the back or somewhere in the forwards. See how it's become more and more important? Like you look at the Warriors, they've got Dylan Walker.
He's incredible.
And the last 2 or so seasons, his stocks have risen because he had a career lull after he left Souths.
Yeah. Didn't do too well at Manly.
No, it's the back end of his career at Manly where his stocks, when initially went to Manly, he had a dip. But at the back end of his stock started rising, and then the man came in for him because there was a number of clubs trying to sign him. Yeah. And then his stocks just keep rising and rising.
He's playing out of his skin at the Warriors. Yeah. Honestly, I think, Reece Robson did a great job, but I don't know if you remember, we were having a discussion once. I don't think it was on air. We were talking about who the utility would be, and I said Dylan Walker deserves a run. I think Dylan Walker would have done well as a utility for the Blues.
Has he played Blues before?
Maybe once.
Possibly, I think so.
I think he may have played a game or two, but I think he would have been a great utility for the Blues.
From being a center to a utility.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I got to say kudos to the young Rabbitohs team. You mentioned earlier as well about Jaden Sullivan potentially signing with the Bulldogs. I put up a Twitter post saying that I didn't think it makes any sense if the Bulldogs sign Jaden Sullivan.
I can see merit in it, but I just signed Sexton. Yeah. Like, what's going on? Sexton, Sullivan, Burton, and then you got those youngsters.
Raja, Boloapu, Haywood.
Yeah. And then beyond the Odo, who's come back from a year. It's just like, what's going on? Like, but then I can see the merit for it because, I think Flanagan, I'm referring to the father, Shane. I think he wants his son to be his halfback. Look, whether you agree with it or not, anyway. I think Flanagan, he doesn't care if Ben Hunt goes. But obviously he's not going to let him go for nothing. Looking at how Flanagan built up Cronulla, he built it around based on his forwards. So the way I look at what Flanagan will do is he'll look to recruit forwards, spend his money on forwards. He will get some good middlemen at St. George. He's not going to get nobodies. He'll use that Ben Hunt money or swap for 1 or 2 gun forwards. Whoever wants Ben Hunt, I want 1 or 2. He's going to build his forwards to give his halfback more time. And I don't know, like I don't mind Flanagan coming across if he's going to be a utility. Whether I want him as my starting halfback, I'd love to see Sullivan stay, but I think Flanagan might have made up his mind. He wants his son to be his halfback.
Okay, but do you think that Flanagan will just let someone like Sullivan leave?
Seems like it.
I don't know, because I think that...
I'd love to see him stay. Look, if one thing St. George don't learn from this is... fan backlash. I can guarantee if he's going to let Sullivan go, there's going to be a huge fan backlash. So the board, in this instance, should step in.
Is he Dragons Junior, Sullivan?
Yes, he is.
See, I want to see someone like Sullivan stay with his club, because if he's a club, like for example, Avrillo, like it burns me that he's a club junior, he's not staying. Right, and I love to see like Penrith. Why I like Penrith so much is because a majority of the team are club juniors, and for me that's exciting because these guys represent the area they grew up in. Sullivan being a St. George junior, if he can get the right coaching and the right mentorship ahead of him, I think he could be a great half.
Look, I know, but look, honestly, one thing St. George don't do well is retain juniors. Look, the best juniors, I think, without a doubt, come from out west. When I mean out west, I don't just mean the Penrith Blacktown comp. I also refer to the West Magpies comp, the Campbelltown area. They got some. That's where the most talented players I find come out from. They got
Parramatta juniors are really good as well.
They're good, but I just think the top two I find is the Wests and Penrith comp.
Yeah, history would agree with you.
You know, and I've seen other NRL clubs raid players repeatedly from both those comps. Yeah. Manly established the Blacktown workers there. They've got about probably 6 to 8, more than probably a dozen players in their system that are from out there. I know Parramatta historically have poached players from West Magpies. So I think that's what St. George might be trying to do, trying to poach players from out west.
I don't know. I think it makes
Canterbury might be onto it as well.
I think it makes more sense though for Sullivan to stay at the Dragons.
I love to see him stay, but I'm just saying this is how I see it. I think father, in this instance, wants his son to be the halfback. He's targeting power forwards. He's going to use his forwards to be dominant over other forwards to try to give his halfback and his backs more time. It's a style he plays because at Cronulla, if you look at it, his halfback was Chad Townsend. You know, like he's good Chad Townsend. He's not your top of the notch halfback. But he did enough to be able to distribute the ball to his 5'8", his second receiver, and then to his backs. So he probably wants his son to play the similar style, what worked for him at Cronulla. Whether it will work,
I mean, he sets himself up for a clash if his son doesn't perform.
Obviously, yeah.
You know
and
what I mean?
There'll be fan backlash as well. Like I know a lot of them, they see Sullivan as a bright spark. So I'm just saying, I can see the merit in him leaving, but at the same time, it doesn't make. You know, it's just weird. You guys just signed to Sexton.
I mean, it could be old news. Could be that the Bulldogs were looking to sign Sullivan before they got Sexton.
Or do you reckon because it's coming from Buzz, it's a bunch of fuzz?
Well, according to Buzz, Fittler was going to be our coach. So who knows?
According to Buzz, many things.
Yeah,
I think Buzz is a bad news sort of guy that
shock jock
just wakes up, thinks he knows everything, and then, for example, he goes through a team list. Chooses 1 month, he chooses St. George. So every day he goes for the St. George team list. He chooses a player and just writes an article on him. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, you know, recently
he tries to act like he's a know-it-all, but I think he's more off for wrong than right.
Yeah, his strike rate is pretty low. And I mean,
mate.
Well, the other thing that he's he's been talking about in the media recently is about the Bulldogs trying to lure Tino to the Bulldogs and giving him potential investment opportunity in the Laundy's pubs.
Let's say that story has merit. The NRL came out today saying I think they want to veto it or something. Is that right?
They're gonna question everything there.
Yeah. Okay. Why does the NRL want to block it? But the Roosters, whenever they seem to get these massive third-party deals with one of their heavy billionaires coming to give, like, you know, investment advice or, you know, portfolio investment to sign up, why is that all right?
Well, I mean, Melbourne did the same thing with their big players last year. With their CEO owns the better at BETR.
Yeah. So why is that all right for them? But all of a sudden, you know, Canterbury want to get some over the pub deal and it's not all right. Like, I'm sure the NRL probably turns around to the Roosters and says, oh, you know, how can we make it easier for you guys to sign this deal? But, you know,
the Bulldogs, they want to make it difficult.
Our golden child club, let's make it easier for you guys. Whereas the Bulldogs, it's veto because they're about to sign one of the game's best players.
Look, it's still all up in the air, you know, and Tino's manager has said they've made no decision. So, I mean, there'll be a lot there to go through, and I'm sure the Bulldogs will put their best foot forward for someone like Tino or a Payne Haas or David Fafita.
You know what? Can I say something? If you have to pay $1.3 million, for example, or $1.4 million to get a Payne Haas, do it. A lot of clubs are missing. They think it's harder to come across a halfback. I reckon it's harder to come across a quality middle forward.
Phil Gould doesn't operate like that. He doesn't like paying overs for anyone.
He wants a well-balanced side, but.
And our problem has been that we haven't had a well-balanced side, and that's why we find ourselves in this mess. So I can see the merit in what Phil Gould says, but I also think, we need a forward.
But don't you reckon you can build a team around a middle forward such as Payne Haas?
Oh, absolutely you can. He's still very young, and I think his best years are ahead of him.
I'd pay overs for him.
Everyone's different. I would love to pay overs for him, but I'm just saying I don't think Phil Gould and the board want to operate that way. That's what I'm saying. Which is a good segue, talking about players and player pay. The NRL and the Rugby League Players Association are currently at war, and there's a media ban from the players.
I don't think the fans really mind that much because for so long we never had to hear the players. And with the advent of social media these days, like the players got their own social media pages, plus a lot of them appear on podcasts. A lot of fans I've found actually support the players, you know. I mean, they don't have to hear, like a lot of fans actually get turned off that the players are actually trudging off at halftime, huffing and puffing. They want to get back to the shed, and all of a sudden get stopped by some media thirsty, interviewer or camera thirsty interviewer just to stop him and basically ask him questions like, just let the guy go to the sheds.
And I just find those brief 10-second interviews add nothing to the broadcast.
I found a lot of fans actually support the players on this.
Yeah.
Like, can I ask, to get to the bottom of it, what is this whole standoff about? I know, like, obviously their action is to do a media ban, but what is this all about?
So this is essentially like industrial action against the NRL, because what the Rugby League Player Association is trying to do is have a collective bargaining agreement for all the players that are part of the RLPA, or all the NRL players.
Is this, for example, based around the minimum pay for NRL players?
So minimum pay, insurances, education.
Look, I totally agree. They got to raise the minimum, like for example, minimum pay. Imagine you're a first grader, right? You earn the minimum pay is 150K. Don't you lose about half of that to tax.
Yeah. So
you're going to earn about 80K a year clearing your pocket, which is $1,600 a week, right? Just to break your body, go out there, smash yourself, go out there and, not live a private life anymore. You're in the media spotlight. Bloody oath. I support them to get, much higher minimum payments. Otherwise, they can just go sit in an office, be obscure in life and earn about the same amount without breaking their bodies. Education as well. I've seen a lot of rugby league players now have something for them go post-career now. They've studied something, whether it's a trade or a diploma or a degree, but they've got something to fall back on. Right? I mean, if you look at a lot of the old rugby league players, once their career's up, they go in a depressive state.
Yeah.
Because they're not going out there every week now and earning that sort of money or just.
But also the adrenaline and also the injuries that start to show up in the body after you've retired. You're no longer actively training as you were. And I think the RLPA is saying that the reason that they've taken this action right now is that after 20 months of negotiation, the NRL responded to the players' settlement proposal with 100 drastic changes without discussion in a take it or leave it offer, right? And they halted negotiations. They said, you take it or leave it. We're not going to discuss anymore. This is it. What else do you expect from the players? I mean, you listen to the RLPA representatives, Christian Welsh, Reid Marnie, Kurt Capewell, all these players have come out and he said, it's clear that as a player, we want players representing us, and we want people who know what we're in, right, what we've been through, to actually understand why we're asking what we're asking. Not some guy who's never played rugby league before, right? I think it's a valid point. It's a very, very valid point. So the other thing is, like, for example, the NRL said, okay, we're going to add two extra games per season, and they didn't actually discuss this with the players.
They got to talk to them with it first.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's like they're the employer. It's like our employer will come up to us and say, for example, hey, we're going to add a spreadsheet, for example, that you need to present to each, for example, say you're in the building industry, you got to add a spreadsheet to each trade. We need a breakdown of cost for certain 1, 2, 3. You got to do every job.
Look, essentially, what they're saying is we're expecting you to do more, without actually paying you more.
No, they should be entitled to get more pay.
I think so.
Because more rounds means you're now aiming for higher TV rights.
Yeah, absolutely.
So also at the same time, you're getting more games a year. You're going to need a bigger squad as well.
Because, I mean, the other thing, for example, is, they're saying, the players are saying, we want our data, like health, fitness tracking data, we want that to be secure. Right now, it's not. And it's not being handled according to privacy law. The other thing is, they want to reduce the minimum player salary from 130 to 120,000, right? And reduce training wages from 1,200 to 1,000 a week. Like
I just made that point. They're smashing themselves to earn after tax less than a person that sits in the office and just talks shit over the phone every day.
Hey, we don't talk shit over the phone, bro.
I'm not referring to you, but I'm just saying it's ridiculous. Your body's getting smashed. You're putting your body on the line. You're in the private eye. Like, you should be out there. You're an athlete. You should be able to earn endorsements and whatnot. Yeah. So why are these guys limiting you to earning literally? Jeez, it's all wrong.
And do you know my biggest issue really is, okay, the RLPA and the NRL are having an argument, or whatever, fine, let's let them deal with it. But then you get these journos that come out and they want to attack players. They want to attack Clint Newton, who I think has done a wonderful job. They want to attack everyone.
Just be clear, they work for the Daily Shitty Graph. It's those journos, News Corp's journos.
You know, even on Triple M.
It's the same F-wits that if you offered them a reduction in their salary, they would chuck an almighty stink.
Absolute stink.
But these guys they've been writing drivel for 20, 30 years. They got him because, I don't even want to go into it over here.
Yeah, let's not. But like for me, it's like as a journo, you've got all these protections, you've got all these rights. You know, as a person, you've had unions support you for a very, very long time.
Of course.
All the RLPA is saying is let us represent the players and let us get them their rights.
Of course. And you know what? For these players, they give a lot of, for about 8 months a year or so, they give a lot of joy for literally a majority of the millions, a majority of the population, kids, adults, families, you name it. Betting agencies thrive because of them, sponsors, food, anything, events are organised behind these guys. So why would we, undercut them?
To be honest, I think
like everyone will say, oh, they earn great money. Yeah, that's not everyone. Some of these guys are earning less than what you guys are sitting at home for talk shit over the phone for hours every day.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. And the thing is, the RLPA is actually saying, let's bring an industrial mediator, let them review the case, and let's just agree to go with any decision they make. And the NRL's standing back, saying, no, we're not going to do that.
Look, NRL is always going to play hardball, so
and that's fine. But
they will budge. They just probably want to get the RLPA to meet them at the middle ground.
Well, the RLPA is saying, let's not make the decision. Let's let a third party mediator make that decision.
Yeah, that's good. Good right? way. Yeah.
And the NRL's and
NRL doesn't want that.
They don't want to do that. So now it's like they're going to take action.
That's all right. That's good. Let's have a lockout. We'll see who's crying after.
Yeah, honestly, and the thing is, like, you got to understand, the way I look at it is, you meet these players in real life, and these players, they love the fans, they love the footy, they love playing for their club, they love the passion and everything. And it's like, the players deserve to have agency in the decisions being made in the game. I
don't think I've ever seen a player actively snub anyone, unless they were rude to him in that, but they're in the public eye. They're giving themselves to the fans and that. You want them to earn a normal, average person's wage that works in the office 40 hours a week. They're more than that.
Yeah.
Sorry, but the minimum wage for that game has to rise. Like, I'm not saying to 150. I'm actually proposing to 200 and over.
Look, I don't think the salary cap can allow for that yet, unfortunately. But hang on. But the thing is, I'm going to take Hayes Perham as an example. Hayes Perham is on a minimum contract. He had a horrible game. Right,
he's playing week in, week out.
But no, but you have to look at the kind of shit he has to put up with and the kind of scrutiny he puts up with.
He's up in the public eye. Surely that comes at a cost.
He's being battered pillar to post.
It comes at a cost. Like, all right, he has his privacy, but you got to pay for that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Why should he be on a minimum wage of 120 or 130?
Yeah, it's
should be on double that at the least.
I support the RLPA 100%. I support the players and the players agency to do what they see fit for their futures and their careers. The NRL, look, the game is as good as it's ever been on the field, and there's a lot of money coming in, but that doesn't mean that because you buy the rights to show the game on TV, Channel 9 or Fox Sports has the right to dictate what happens to the players. At the end of the day, the competition is the players and the fans. Everybody else is there to make everything work. As far as I'm concerned, everything else is admin.
Everyone compliments everyone, yeah.
No. The players and the fans are everything. Everybody else is just there to make sure the competition runs efficiently.
Of course. Yeah.
Honestly, the players, the coaching staff, and the fans, they're the three pieces that are the most important. Everything else is for me, just admin. Just making sure things tick along.
They're meant to be there growing the game.
That's what they meant there, they're
meant to utilise the product they got.
Like, for example, one of the things that they want to do is they want to include, like, they want to have more clarity around international payments. The NRL doesn't want to do that. There's so many different things.
Have they said why? Or it's a cutthroat no.
Look, for example, here, the RLPA position is that there should be equal payments for all players from nations playing in these tournaments, including Kangaroos and Jillaroos. However, those payments should be made in tournament and paid for by the money generated from those international games. The NRL's not agreeing to, like, it's like, if you don't actually look into it, as a fan, you may think, oh, that's not important. or like, you know, why the players being stubborn. When you look into it, you realize these are a lot of rights we already have in other areas of work. The players should be able to do the same in their, you know, place of work as well, which is rugby league. So yeah, I think it's just very interesting how the journos have been trying to discredit the players in the RLPA and Clint Newton.
Absolute, yeah. Those journos from the Daily Shittygraph. No one displays convict mentality better than them. They really like bringing everyone down, just so they're beneath them. On more, I guess happy news, but not really. But we'll talk about now. Origin Game 3 is 2 nights away. Right.
So a couple of changes are being thrown about.
Is anyone giving New South Wales hope? It just feels like we're all resigned to losing 3-0.
I've got my New South Wales cap on.
Look, I think we'll see a vastly improved performance, I hope. I mean, is anyone giving New South Wales a chance? Look, by the way, that hat suits you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Suits you, yeah.
I don't think look, this could go either way. I don't know what
really.
This could go either way. I think if the Blues win,
I think everyone's just say, look, don't lose by more than 12 points and we'll be happy.
If the Blues win by maybe 6 to 12 points.
Close game.
Yeah, it'll be a close game. I don't think the Blues are going to blow anyone off the park. And you know what highlighted that for me is that, you know, when Fittler was asked about having Clint Gutherson on the bench, he essentially said he's there as cover for someone in the halves or fullback or center, but he doesn't actually have a plan for him. And for me, when your state of origin coach comes out and says that, you sort of think to yourself, that's a little disappointing. And it doesn't give you hope. But there's also some news coming out that apparently Gutho won't be playing in the 17 on Wednesday. And in fact, Spencer Leniu will make his New South Wales debut because apparently he's impressed the training staff.
Well, Fittler should have been impressed with him from months ago.
I agree.
The guy's been absolutely laying people flat.
He's got those crazy eyes. He's got those crazy eyes, mate.
He runs a cannon runs. He's just a cannonball into the defense.
I think for everyone's sanity, Leniu should be on the bench instead of
unleash me four forwards.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Reece Robson can play in multiple different positions.
Oh, hands down, yeah.
Which is, I think, cover enough. Let's try and win this game and restore at least some honor back to the sky blue jersey. I do have high hopes for a win.
New South Wales 13 plus.
No, not 13 plus. Okay. 6 to 12 max if we win. But look, I am predicting the Blues will win by 8 points. Let's say 8 points.
Not bad of a shout, yeah. Queensland by 12. Also
not a bad shout. I mean, I could see them doing the whitewash.
It could either be that or New South Wales 13 plus.
Look, I want to see the team turn up for the state because we are still behind them 100%. You know, the final point I guess I want to talk about with State of Origin is, you know, does Fittler remain coach?
Yeah, look, they got to search elsewhere. He's had 6 seasons?
Yeah.
Give someone else a go, like Michael Ennis from Fox Sports if he's interested. He's very passionate about it.
Oh, mate.
Like he gets dirty. Like he goes down swinging. Like he's losing a losing. Yeah. He's fighting a losing battle.
But he doesn't.
He's getting embarrassed. But honestly, he's just still trying to hit those Queenslanders.
Yeah.
You know, he's passionate as they come. Look, I'd say Joey as well. Like I wouldn't recommend him for coaching. He's another one who wears his heart on his sleeve for New South Wales. He bleeds blue. Look, for me, I'd give Cordner, Andrew Ryan a shout if they want to.
Look, I think you're right in that we need to bring back the traditional Blues, like diehard, like, you know, someone.
Those guys bleed blue. Like you tell me, Andrew Ryan doesn't bleed blue.
Look, I know Fittler.
He's coaching their 19s for the last few seasons.
I know Fittler bleeds blue as well.
Yeah, he's had his turn.
He's had his turn, and
just too much. Some coaching methods out of left field.
I agree.
I mean, he tries to do the stick and, but he sticks with the wrong players.
Yeah, 100%. He tries to bring the Panthers system across to New South Wales.
And like 20 other NRL clubs are trying and it's failing with them.
Yeah. I don't think that's the way. So, look, I'm hoping for a good game. I do feel that it'll be an exciting game. The Blues probably have a lot to prove. But, yeah, I'm a bit nervous about this game. I'll be honest with you. I'm very nervous.
I mean, we already lost it 2-0. We got nothing to lose.
Bro,
The worst case is
worse than a whitewash. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that the worst thing that can happen to the Blues right now is a whitewash? Because I would not be able to bear it. Like, I'll probably be watching the game with some Queenslanders, and let me tell you, if I have to sit through a whitewash, there might not be a podcast next week.
I don't know. I just find it like, both our sides have had one of those seasons.
Yeah.
And then our state sides had worse or just as bad. Like,
I want to see some success.
I think we're at the bottom of the barrel. I don't think it gets any worse.
Yeah.
So I think another loss. we're just perennial losers.
Yeah, that's what it is. We just compound our woes.
Oh shit! I never thought I'd say that. Anyways,
I think that brings us just about to the end of the podcast. It's been fantastic to actually, it doesn't, because the Bulldogs are versing the Broncos this week at Belmore.
is it at Belmore?
Yeah, it's at
Somebody
Belmore.
told me at Ackle. All right, if it's at Belmore, I'm going to head down.
It'll be at Belmore. From what you saw from the Bulldogs last week against the Rabbitohs, how do you think they'll go against the Broncos?
A lot better than what people think they're going to go. It's at Belmore, their spiritual home ground. Payne Haas ain't playing. Reece Walsh ain't playing. You'll have half a dozen Broncos backing up. When's the game?
On a Saturday, 3 p.m.
Oh, beautiful. So they get like a 3-day rest. Not even. 2.5 day.
Yeah.
Even better for you guys. You guys get Josh back. Your boys will be buoyed by the win last week. It's front of their home crowd. They'll be feeling good about themselves. I'm sure the locals will all go out there. I expect a crowd of at least 15,000.
I think they say it might be sold out.
Well, there you
18,000,
go.
17,500.
Canterbury's a sort of side, win, lose. They're still getting big crowds. That's what I like about their fans. I think he's going to do a lot better. Whether he's win or not, I don't think it's going to be a big difference in the scoreline as much as people think.
Do you think Brisbane will rest any players?
Yeah, I think they will.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think Walters might be supremely confident. But then again, they might want to guarantee those 2 points because I'm sure he'd want to secure a top 4 or top 2 spot.
Yeah.
Top 2 gets you a home preliminary final, especially if you win the first week. So, and that's like a big plus to get you to the grand final. So, we'll find out. I think Canterbury's going to do a lot better than people expect them. I hope so anyway. Don't embarrass me, boys.
I honestly, I'm not sure how we're going to perform. Like, the way I look at it is this.
Look,
I just don't want them to go out there and put on a game like they did against the Knights. I want them to go out there and be consistent. Just play like you did against the Rabbitohs. Just do us proud. You don't have to win. Just do us proud.
I can guarantee you one thing. Whatever happens, I know Finch and Ibby and Veg will be having an almighty rant. And then on the other side, you got my mate Hoos, who will be absolutely baiting them. But I would love it if Canterbury actually put one on Brisbane and just to see Hoos go missing for a few days. So hope you're watching, boys.
Look, I'll be honest. I don't know how to judge this. I don't think Brisbane has been in the best form recently, but they're such a good team that they can pull out the wins.
They've had a great season.
Yeah, they have had a great season. Look, the Bulldogs have had a horrendous run. If Viliami Kikau plays, I think that obviously increases our chances. If Burton and Sexton can combine, I think we can maybe threaten.
Let's just hope. You got to hope the Brisbane forwards have an off day. They've got a classy forward pack.
Their fourth pack is what will burn us.
Classy forward pack. Peter Kuro and Jordan Ricky and Flegler and Carrigan. Yeah. And Haas is not even there. I'm just naming some names.
Yeah, look, I agree with
what
you.
A forward pack. I'm sure I missed a few in there as well.
And then you've got the centres that you've got Katoni Staggs and Herbie Farnworth that come in, and you've got.
Would have been great to see Reece Walsh and Payne Haas. You guys would have had 15,000 people that would have missed out on tickets if they had their full lineup. Yeah. Matter of fact, if you guys were doing great this year, they would have obviously had to shift the game to Ackle.
Yeah, it would have been a big game.
Yeah,
it would have been a big game.
Yeah.
Bulldogs and Broncos always have big games and good rivalries. So I'm looking forward to the game. I'm going to say Dogs by 6.
There you go, sticking by his side.
Always Dogs by 6. What do you think? What do you think the score's going to be?
All I know is I'm going to have to be a pacemaker between Hoos and Finch.
Yeah.
But I'll go Brisbane by 12 points.
13 plus. Let's have Brisbane 13 plus.
No, let's leave it at 12.
All right.
Hopefully the Dogs win.
And look, with that, we've come to the end of the podcast. Can we mention who our guest is going to be next week?
I think he's from Tigerland.
Yeah.
Nickname Sauce or Big Red.
Yeah. Not me, by the way. I'm here anyway.
you know, that's all I'll say about it. And he's about 6'4", 6'5", one of the great redheads. So
we're going to have another redhead on the podcast next week.
This is not going to be good. 2 redheads sitting with me. So.
2 redheads, 2 red beards sitting with
one giant redhead. Jeez.
It's going to be a very, very good podcast with a former first grader. Played well over 250 games.
Yeah, he went to England as well. He played
very long
He was in
career.
that premiership side for Leeds, but unfortunately he missed out due to an Achilles injury.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's got a decorated career. He's played for New South Wales in Australia as well. Forgot to mention. You can find out on the podcast next week.
Yeah, so make sure you like and subscribe to see who we'll be having on the podcast next week. You will not be disappointed. And with that, I'd like to thank you all, guys. If you've made it to the deep end, thank you for all your support. Thank you for listening in. If you like the podcast, like the video, subscribe to our channel, share it if you like it. Thank you so much for all your time. Thank you so much for following. I appreciate all of you.
I just want to give a shout out to our producer, Camellia. See you all.
Have a good one.